Hello, how's it going, seventh graders? Well, we are on this virtual day, and so I'm going to try to kind of talk you through what we would have been doing in class in a short version. And if you have further questions, I just want to point out here in Google Classroom, I said I will do a live meet at 9 a.m. this morning, and I will do one at 1 p.m. this afternoon. So if you have questions and you're like, I don't really get what I'm supposed to do, okay, then please join me. Use the Meet link here and just come and check in with me. All right. I'd rather you come and ask some questions rather than just sit there in agony and be like, this is hard. I don't want to do it because I want to have that discussion with you. Okay. So, we get to find out Elisa's test results today. And so what you were supposed to do the other day was you were supposed to kind of compare the data that you had from the healthy body and then your condition, okay? And so you should have the one document with the table on it. I'm going to go find it here in Classroom. So it looks like, sorry, I should have had this up. Testing the conditions right here, testing conditions with the sim. And we also had the video here. So if you were unable to see all the results, second hour in particular, you should watch this video so that way you can see what was really happening in the body. So we had this document here that we filled out. We got some numbers for it. And if you still need numbers, there's video links here. Just watch them and you can get some numbers, okay? So then your job is to compare the numbers that we got in the healthy body. If it would scroll, please scroll. Okay, it's being a little slow. I'm sorry. Anyway, so you're going to compare the numbers of the healthy body to the numbers of either anemia or diabetes, whichever condition you are examining. Please remember that the oxygen molecules taken in per breath doesn't matter. It's going to be the same at 25 across the board. So we're really concerned about what's happening with oxygen and what's taking place with glucose. Okay. And so you're supposed to fill out a Google form, which was yesterday's virtual learning assignment. All right. So if you haven't done that yet, guess what? You need to go and do that, please, and thank you. Okay. All right. So anyway, so you're comparing the numbers. And so back to what we should have been reflecting with it. So hopefully we noticed in the healthy body that the numbers were typically higher. We saw a range of about 40 to 70 for glucose, typically in the healthy body, same in amino acid land. Again, we don't need to really care about that right now. And oxygen should be in the 200s, probably a mid 200s, but at least over 200 molecules. Okay. And so if we look at anemia's results and compare that with the healthy body, you probably saw that your glucose levels were in the 40s, maybe somewhere in the low range of the 40 to 70 molecules. Same with the amino acids. But your oxygen number, I'm hoping that you got it, that it was quite low. It was in the hundreds, maybe 150 molecules. So definitely a lower number for oxygen. And then we have to start thinking about, well, why would that be? Okay, because you guys had to predict that this would happen. And hopefully that's what you predicted. But if not, thinking about what does it mean when somebody has anemia? Okay, and what we know when somebody has anemia is the fact that they have fewer red blood cells that are carrying the oxygen through the circulatory system, which means that fewer oxygen molecules can actually get to the cells. So that makes sense to have a low number. Okay. On the other hand, diabetes, again, I don't have real numbers put in here yet for you, but your glucose molecule count when you did your trials compared to the healthy body was probably a lot lower, maybe somewhere in a range of like 15 to 20, give or take. Amino acids probably was a little lower than the normal, but still, close to 40 maybe. And then oxygen was probably doing fine. It's somewhere in the 200s again, maybe the low 200s, but still above 200. So not a significant enough drop to be worried about that. But this idea that glucose was really low, again, is supported with what is going on. Excuse me, sorry. There we go. When with diabetes, because insulin is very low and it doesn't let glucose get into the cells. There's still going to be some occasionally because it's low levels of insulin. So anyway, so that means that we get fewer glucose molecules into the cells. Now, both sets of data, whether you are diabetes or anemia, the activity level was starting at walk. And by the end of the simulation, both people, both in diabetes and anemia, were at rest. So that was kind of a couple of things to note in the observations and things that you could be comparing on this results Google form. So I just helped you with that assignment from yesterday. So now I'm going to talk about what we would be doing if we were together. So we're going to be able to state a claim today of what Elisa's condition officially is caused by. Is it diabetes? Is it anemia? And then we're going to look at some evidence. So we have a data table to see, and you're going to compare it with your numerical results. And I'll kind of show it to you from the sheet of paper that we're going to be working with for your assignment. Then we want to know, how is our claim going to actually result in the test data that we are looking at. So we want to know, how is the condition caused, what molecules are affected, and how this condition affects the cells. Okay, I'm going to kind of address this last question because whether it's diabetes or anemia, it's the same effect on the cells. If you're not getting enough glucose and you're not getting enough oxygen, whether it's one or the other, the point being those two molecules come together to make, you see my starburst jump, energy. Yeah. Okay. So the cells aren't going to be able to make energy, resulting in somebody feeling tired. Okay. So that we kind of know that answer to that question that we would be discussing if we were in groups today. So then it's kind of coming back to what's the condition caused by and the molecules are affected. And then looking at the data to say, okay, because of these numbers being low, and kind of connecting it to the sim and describing how that fits the claim that she has that condition. So, what else? I think that's it. I think it's time to show you Elisa's results. So drum roll, please. Here they are. Her glucose number was 19. Her amino acids was 54. Her oxygen was 273, and oxygen per breath is 25. So if you compare those results, these numbers, to your numbers from your trials on anemia or diabetes, you're looking for a common close number. You might not be exact, but you're looking for numbers that are close by. If your numbers are really close to hers, within a range, in particular, again, we're looking at glucose and oxygen, we're looking at that range to be, kind of close. If it's way wackadoodle out there for both glucose and oxygen, it is not your condition. If one of them's kind of close and the other one's kind of wackadoodle, that's because Elisa's test results were a little off for me and my likings. But anyway, if you have a number that's kind of close, guess what? It's yours. So I'm going to give you a moment. And you're like, yes, it was mine. Oh, it wasn't mine. What does she have? What does she have? She has diabetes. It's diabetes. And anemia people, you might not be able to tell exactly. But remember, your oxygen count was down in the hundreds. Elisa is well into the 200s. That molecule in particular would have to be super low for us to be able to say that that's what Elisa has. Most likely also your, again, anemia, your glucose number is probably a lot higher, maybe close to the upper 30s, low 40s, versus this is sitting below 20. Okay. So unfortunately, anemia, it's not you. Okay. All the results could have pointed to that from the text, but we have to look at the solid evidence of numbers. What did we get from her diagnosis of the tests? And so we would diagnose her with diabetes. And diabetes people are looking at their numbers and saying, yeah, I had a range of somewhere 15 to 20 with my glucose, So that's a really close number. Maybe some of you got 19. I have no idea. If we were in person, I'd ask you. But anyway, so it's definitely going to be diabetes. Diabetes, maybe you notice with your oxygen molecules that you were sitting in the low 200s. I know Lisa's pretty high with 273, but as long as your oxygen count is over 200, it's okay. That's not going to lead to anemia. Anemia is going to be in the low mid hundreds, typically speaking. So if your oxygen isn't exactly the same as hers, it's okay. Don't worry about it. It is actually still diabetes. Okay, so what do we do with this information? So what we would have done in class was I would have had you get together in your groups and I've had you talk through these questions. So we now know that her condition is caused by diabetes. So that is the claim we need to move forward with. All of us, regardless if you're like, nope, it's still anemia. You cannot discrepant these numbers, ladies and gentlemen. It's diabetes. So now we got to find a piece of evidence from our tests that support the claim. So it's going to come down to really looking at the molecule that's being affected. So maybe you actually want to answer the question first. What is diabetes actually caused by? And what molecule is affected? All right, I got you there. So we're going to have this document. This is going to be assigned to all of you. So you're going to have to do this as a typed document. Please note the whole first bit of information on the first page is all resource information for you. And probably the most significant resource information is right here. Okay, you're welcome. I'm kind of re-explaining to you how diabetes happens in the body because anemia, maybe you don't know that because you've been studying anemia. So again, it comes down to that idea that insulin levels are low. It's keeping glucose from entering the cells, and therefore we can't let a whole lot of glucose into the body. P.S. Kind of rewriting this, you can't copy and paste this directly. Please don't. I will not accept your answer for that, but kind of retell this within the section that you're going to see. So let's look at real numbers as we're moving on to being able to write this claim evidence reasoning. Because maybe some of you have opened the document and you're like, oh, hey, oh, there's a lot of space to write. You don't have to fill it up, okay? So don't freak out. So you already know what you're going to fill in right here. We're all going to put in the word diabetes. So that's not even a question. The harder part is let's explain the evidence that we've got, and then we have to reason a little bit. So when we're looking at evidence, we are looking at the numbers. Right now, anemia's numbers don't even matter. So when you get your document, if you want to edit it and delete anemia, that's fine. You sure can. I apologize if you hear my child in the background. Okay, so we're going to be looking at the results from diabetes. We're looking at Elisa's test results. You could even compare it back to the healthy body, and it's probably not a bad idea to do so. You're wanting to kind of talk about what do you see for Elisa that is higher or lower when compared to the healthy body? How about the condition of diabetes test results? How do those numbers compare? Are they higher or lower when compared with the healthy body? So in your evidence and things I kind of talked about with the students yesterday was the fact that when looking at the glucose levels for Elisa, her number was higher or lower than a healthy body, and her number was 19. We know Elisa's number is 19. So anytime you can use numbers in evidence, you got to do that, okay? Really, really use the numbers that are there. The other one, so then we had to look at the test results from the diabetes trial and kind of said the same thing. For the condition of diabetes test results, the number was higher or lower than a healthy body, and the test result was use the number, okay? In this case, I've got 20. Those of you who did a diabetes result, if you want to use your numbers, again, your range is probably 15 to 20. You can do that, but since we're trying to all play on a level field, just using the numbers in here would be most appropriate, okay? So I know I'm not typing it here, but I have literally said the sentences that you want. So if you're like, I missed what she said, hit pause, go back in the video about 1 minute ago and re-listen. Maybe turn on closed captioning. You might catch some stuff. You're welcome. I'm trying to be helpful since I can't be with you. Okay, Then we got to reason through, oops, wrong doc, come back. We got to reason through then how this condition is going to cause those results. So again, you got to do some connecting between these two bullet points and what you see taking place in the data table. Now, you're still welcome to talk about oxygen if you want to. Notice that the numbers across the board, do they seem kind of similar, or are they way different? P.S. They're all in 200s. That should be a pretty big clue to you. It's not like somebody's in the hundreds and some are in the 200s, okay? Except for anemia, but again, we're not looking at anemia. Muy mal. Bad. Don't look at anemia. Okay, but you want to connect these two bullet points. Again, you cannot copy and paste and just be like, done, and just add some numbers. You need to kind of explain what's taking place. So again, we know, and what my group talked about yesterday was, what is the condition caused by? Well, we know it's caused by insulin. What's the big deal about insulin? Well, insulin is not being made a whole lot. Again, big hairy deal. Why does that matter? Well, what does glucose do? It lets glucose enter the cells. But if you don't have enough glucose, you can't let glucose into the cells. So did I say glucose twice? I really lost my train of thought. I'm going to try that one more time. If you have low levels of insulin, glucose is really not allowed to enter the cells. Okay. And the big hairy deal about that is, what is glucose needed for? It's needed to release energy. Okay. So kind of wrapping those thoughts, that's what's going on with the condition, and then talking about how these numbers make sense for that. Okay. So again, probably using the words higher or lower when comparing Elisa's results in particular back to the healthy body. You can also cross-reference with the trials for the diabetes. Now, DB, the problem for you guys is you can't really draw for me a whole lot of your thoughts. You're going to have to write to me. I'm not going to try to go against English language arts. My preference would be that you would use full sentence answers. However, if you kind of need to bullet point out your thoughts, as long as you can create a good solid flow that doesn't make me question what you're trying to do, and you're expressing and explaining enough stuff, I can work with bullet points. But truly, when you would do a scientific argument, you would write out full sentence answers. So that would be my best approach that I would expect to see. But I'm just really most concerned, can you connect the evidence to support the claim of Elisa having diabetes? And can you reason with me how having the condition of diabetes would cause the results that we saw in the sim data, and also why Elisa's test results were the way that they were. Okay, so if you have questions, again, I will be on a Google Meet at 9 a.m. and 1 p.m., and I will be there to assist you. This document will start going live to you, honestly, already today. So if you want to get started on it, you can. But this is the expected assignment for to be completed between Friday and Monday. It should be fully done by Tuesday. I want done on Tuesday. And great thing about virtual thing is that you can turn it in and I can give you some feedback. And then we're going to kind of keep moving forward. So if you have questions, email me, show up to Google Meet, give me a call. My information is still right here in the stream. If you need me for anything, I will be there for you. All right. Good luck. Have some fun with it. And we will see you guys in person again on Tuesday. Bye.